Welcome back, Dolphins. I'm going to be making this pretty much end of the third quarter because we've basically seen what we needed to see. I'm going to go over the stats real quick, and then we'll kind of talk about it. It's good and bad that I have to talk about this game, but we'll get into it real quick. So obviously Zach Wilson 9 for 13, 80 yards and a touchdown, or I think it's more than that. I don't think it's updated yet. I think it's like 10 for 14 for what is it? Probably like 100 yards and a touchdown. Tua was 4 for 8 for 49 yards and a touchdown. Ollie freaking Gordon, bro. Ollie freaking Gordon. I picked him up in my fantasy league. I'm very happy about that. We're going to talk about that. But 8 for 43 yards. Mike Boone, 5 for 21 and a touchdown. Oh, no. I guess the Zach Wilson thing. Yeah, it's correct. 9 for 13 for 80 yards. You got receiving Malik Washington, 3 for 41 and a touchdown from Tua. Malik looked fantastic today. Taj Washington, the Washington brothers looked fantastic, 4 for 30. Eric Izukanma, 3 for 25 and that really great fourth and 16 catch. D. Eskridge with that awesome 21-yard catch. And then Waddle had a catch and Myrick had a catch. On defense, Chop had a sack. Chubb had a sack. Jalen Phillips had a half sack. What else is there? Yeah. And then you got a bunch of tackles from all of them. So we'll get into it real quick. What should I talk about? Defense or offense? Let's start with defense first. Seeing this pass rush real quick. I mean, we didn't even have Kenneth Grant in there. Right off the bat, Chop gets to the quarterback, like off rip. And seeing what they're able to do with these guys, we're going to break this down segment by segment. The pass rush, Chubb, Chop, Phillips, all of them coming at you at the same time. I mean, it looks lethal. It looks very lethal. And like we've been saying since the beginning, they're going to be disguising the cornerbacks because they have such a high pass rush. And we got to also remember that it's not like, so the cornerbacks are back there. The front seven is going to disguise the cornerbacks because the two middle linebackers that we have also are good in coverage and pretty much could do the same or similar things that the quarterbacks could do in coverage. So the middle of the field is pretty much secured. Just the cornerbacks on the outside. And watching how fast Phillips gets off, God willing, knock on wood, we stay healthy. These guys are getting off the edge in like 2 seconds, getting to the quarterback. I mean, it's really crazy to see. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen. Yeah, no, because most of the time it was like a defensive tackle and like Cameron Wake or, something like that. It was never the entire, Zach Sealer's a part of this too. The entire defensive line can get after the quarterback. So it's going to disguise the cornerbacks. And we'll talk about the cornerbacks right now. Storm Duck, Jack Jones is starting. It seems that he's going to keep that role as a starter unless, I highly doubt that Kendall Sheffield's just going to come back and be the starter. I think it's going to be Jack Jones. And what it looks like, again, which, I'm hearing a lot of things with Mike Hilton. Jason Marshall Jr. is in the nickel, and he didn't really do bad. Like, he was all right. He wasn't great. He did his thing. Like, he made the stops. He missed a couple tackles, but he was all right. He was all right at the nickel. Like I said, I don't know if Mike Hilton's going to be there, but they started the game. Starting was Jason Marshall Jr. and Jack Jones. So it didn't look bad. It didn't look, the best, but they're going to do what they're going to do. The safeties look good. What else can I talk about? Willie Gay did great. But yeah, I mean, the cornerbacks are going to be the cornerbacks. We're going to just slowly groom them over the season. And they have a lot of confidence in teaching proper technique and defensive alignment and all that they're going to slowly learn it and eventually get better and better each week. I can honestly say, if we really look at from an outside perspective, they do look better every week. It's like each week they tend to look better and better. Every single week they seem to make strides in, the way that they play. They seem to be more secure in what they're doing and how they react towards different receivers and this and that. So they're making strides. And I guess that's what they're kind of going for, is that as the pass rush keeps going along, you develop Jack Jones, you develop Jason Marshall or Mike Hilton, depending on whenever he feels like playing, or not feels like playing, or whenever they feel like playing him. And they're just going to roll with that. So happy with the defense. I think it'll do. I think the game one is such a good transition into the season because we're playing Indianapolis, and Daniel Jones is going to be the starter. It's Daniel Jones. It's not like we're facing, a Peyton Manning first week of the season, facing Daniel Jones. So it'll be a good transition period to really figure out what we have in this secondary. And I think they did all right. Again, I think the front seven is really going to disguise a lot of things because they get after the quarterback so quickly. Now for the offense. What should we talk about? First two drives, they look like trash. Jonah, looked kind of lost on a couple of them. So did James Daniels. The third drive was so much better. What it seemed like is that everybody was very nervous on the field, and they were very anxious and excited, and there was a lot of jittery emotions because we're about to start the season. You got all the starters in, so it looked like a lot of jitters. But the offensive line did not look good to start the game. As we were moving forward, it seemed like we were getting better and better. And then that third drive looked legit. It looked back to what we were doing. As far as the offensive line, I think, obviously Larry Borum, if we don't have Austin Jackson, which I think he's going to be playing week one, he's a weak link. Larry Borum looked to he had some good blocking plays, but there were a couple where he seemed, lost. Jonah, he is a rookie. We have to remember that he's not going to come in and just be a superstar. He's a rookie, and he also was a second-round pick, so you're going to be grooming him. But he did have a couple of plays where he just wasn't going to the right defender, but he'll get better at that. I still think he has a lot more good reps than he does bad. But again, he's a second-round rookie out of Arizona. It's it's like the Pac-12. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Pac-12. Sorry I'm yawning so much, guys. I'm working 6 days a week. This is like my last ending, and I usually go to sleep by now. He's going to have reps like that. Let's talk about Ollie Gordon. There's a lot to talk about, and there's a little bit. Like I said, I picked him up in my fantasy league. He looks legit. He looks like he's going to be the starting running back. And I know Devon Achane is there, but Devon Achane, I think, is going to be much more in a wide receiver split-out role. I think Ollie Gordon is going to be handling the brunt of the carries. And something Kim Bocamper, he said in one of the parts that he was talking to the other, I forgot the other guy's name, not really sure his name. He was like, it doesn't look like he's getting pushed back ever, which is what I've been saying since the beginning, is that all the other running backs, including Devon Achane. Devon Achane does have his moments where he pushes forward, but for the most part, all the running backs seem to be just stonewalled, pushback, or they have a run in the lane. But when it comes to Ollie Gordon, he gets hit in the lane and he never gets moved back. He's always moving forward. So, for instance, there was a run today where he was hit at 1 yard into the run, but he kept pushing forward for 3 more yards. And it's what I've been saying, where he's going to do that. He's going to get you more and more yards. You see him always flying or, tripping over somebody or whatever it is forward. And he's always getting extra yards from the run, whereas the other running backs are just not doing that. And it's not a knock on them. Devon Achane, that's not his game. He's elusive. He's going to get you yards by speedily going through guys, making people miss, all of that stuff. But Ollie Gordon is what you've been looking for, where he's the running back that he can get hit, and he's still going to push forward for 2 more yards. And that's what you need. And what I saw today is that the offense started rolling when Ollie started rolling, because he started getting runs, pushing forward, and it made it easier on Tua much better plays, and it started just clicking once they started running him. So I think you can't take him out. You have to have him in the game week 1. He has to be the guy because you have such an energy with him in the game. And then on top of that, what I think it's equal to his running style was the dude understands pass blocking. He understands who to go and get. He blocked someone later on for Zach Wilson. They panned the camera away on, I think it was the third drive with Tua. They panned it away really quickly because Tua, threw the ball away. There was a guy, or I think Tua, it was either a throwaway or it was a completion. I can't remember which one it was. But it panned away where you didn't get to see that there was a dude beelining it for Tua, and Ollie wrecked his crap. Like, literally saw it, came around, and just shouldered right into him and stonewalled him before he could get to Tua, which you end up seeing, if you watch that play, you end up seeing Tua go over to him and be like, yo, nice block. Because the guy was literally beelining it for Tua, and Ollie just stonewalled him. So not only is he a great runner, but his pass blocking, it's something that Devon Achane just can't do. I'm sorry to say this. All the Devon Achane fans, I love him. There's just certain things that Ollie can do that he can't do. And one of them happens to be, pass blocking. Like, he looked phenomenal getting the right guy blocking him so that the quarterback could get that extra second. He looked phenomenal at that, which to me, for running backs, everybody likes seeing the explosive runs and all that stuff. That's equal to the runs. That is equal because, again, you can have an explosive running back, but if Tua doesn't have a running back that he can trust to get that extra block, that's a problem, And again, I love Devon Achane, but guy is beelining it at Tua. Devon Achane gets in his way. He's just pummeling him and getting to Tua. With Ollie, like I said, I don't think, if you didn't look at it, you didn't see it, but there was a smack where it was like Ollie Gordon slammed into the dude and stonewalled him, stopped him from getting to Tua. Tua had an extra second. So Ollie freaking Gordon, man. That's all I got to say. As for the wide receivers, Malik Washington looked phenomenal. Very elusive. I think he's going to be the third guy. He looked phenomenal today. And Taj Washington, I think the Washington brothers. One thing that I do want to key is that Westbrook-Akine and Tua do not look on the same page at all. So I think maybe he's going to get a lot of red zone snaps. But as far as like playing in the game, they just don't seem to be in sync. Like, he doesn't seem to know where to be. And I think that's a big problem. Maybe they'll get it over the season, but I don't see the connection with Nick Westbrook-Akine like he has with Malik Washington or Taj Washington, any of those guys. But all in all, I'm happy to start the season with this. I think maybe there's a couple pieces that we'll get tomorrow once they release everybody. But for the most part, I think, again, the corners are going to be what they're going to be. The wide receivers, once Tyreek Hill comes back, we're going to have a squad. We have to see what Darren Waller's going to do. Don't know what he's going to do, but apparently he's going to be our starting tight end. And then, of course, the offensive line, I think, is going to be changed when Austin Jackson comes back. But Ollie Gordon needs to be running that ball. And if he is, I think we have a chance to really become that physical team. Because I love it. I think he brings that energy that we've needed for the past, 2 years. That physical energy. I know we had explosiveness, but that physical running you over type of energy. He brings that. So